The colonel tried to hit her until she snapped his arm in front of 250 soldiers. The crack of bone echoed across the courtyard. A sickening snap, then silence. 250 soldiers stood frozen, their breaths held, as Colonel Richard Voss dropped to his knees, his right arm bent at a grotesque angle. His face, once twisted in rage, was now a mask of shock. And standing over him, her green uniform splattered with blood, some his, some hers, was Lieutenant Kara Reid. Her knuckles were white, her jaw set. The scratch marks on her face burned, but she didn't flinch. She had just broken a colonel's arm, in front of the entire battalion, and she wasn't sorry. But how had it come to this? Hours earlier, Lieutenant Reid had been just another officer in formation, invisible, in the sea of uniforms. Now, she stood at the center of a storm, one she'd seen coming, but refused to outrun. Because some lines, once crossed, demanded a response. And Colonel Voss? He'd crossed hers. Kara Reid had spent 6 years in the military perfecting one skill: endurance. Enduring the whispers that she'd only gotten her rank because of her father's legacy. Enduring the way male officers joked about her place being behind a desk. Enduring Colonel Voss's special attention, the way his eyes lingered, the way his critiques always came with a smirk. She'd swallowed it all, until today. Because today, he hadn't just looked, he'd touched. It happened after inspection. Voss had pulled her aside, his voice a low growl. "You missed a spot on your boots, Lieutenant?" She knew she hadn't, but she said nothing. Then his hand clamped around her wrist. "Maybe you need a private lesson in discipline." His breath hot against her ear, and something inside Kara snapped. She wrenched free. Voss's face darkened. "You little—" He swung. The battalion gasped as his fist cut through the air. And then she moved. Years of training kicked in, a twist, a lock, a brutal, precise motion. His arm broke with a sound like dry wood. For a heartbeat, the world stopped. Then Voss screamed. The soldiers stirred, murmurs spreading like wildfire. Kara stood tall, her pulse roaring in her ears. She'd just assaulted a superior officer, her career over. But for the first time in years, she felt free. And then a voice cut through the chaos. "Lieutenant Reid." General Aldrich stepped forward, his gaze unreadable. "My office, now." The hearing lasted 3 hours. Voss raged, demanding a court-martial. The other officers avoided her eyes, even her allies, silent. Kara sat, back straight, waiting for the axe to fall. Then Aldrich leaned forward. "Colonel Voss, you've filed 5 harassment complaints this year, all dismissed, all against women." A pause. "Lieutenant Reid, you broke protocol, but I've seen the security footage." He slid a file across the table. "Tell me. Everything." Voss lunged at her in the hallway later, his good arm swinging. Kara didn't hesitate. This time, she didn't stop at his arm. When the MPs pulled her off, Voss was on the ground, sobbing. Aldrich watched, then nodded. "Consider that your resignation, Colonel." Kara Reid walked out of the headquarters the next morning, her discharge papers in hand. Honorable. The battalion saluted as she passed. She didn't look back. Some battles weren't fought with guns. Some victories weren't won with silence. And some women weren't meant to be broken. If this story touched you, hit that like button and drop a karma in the comments below.